Hey Virgo, I am your astrologer, Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. Here is your weekly forecast for the week of Monday, March 19th to Sunday, March 25th, 2018. Now before we get started, I just wanted to remind you that I am going to be doing a Mercury retrograde webinar this Thursday, March 22nd at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. If you would like to be there, please sign up at the link down below in my description box. What I will be talking about is the most important days of this Mercury retrograde period and what it all means. The way I see it is that we are finally stepping out into a new life, a new identity, being a new person in some way, especially now that Saturn has left Sagittarius and Mars has left Sagittarius. And I think now that we're trying to become this new person and move forward on some new things that we've been working out, now what we've got to do is make sure that we're living, we got to adjust our mindset here to meet this new person that we've now become, and to make sure that we're telling ourselves new things and a new story based on this new person that we've become, and not living by an old set of rules and an old way of thinking that just doesn't apply, okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about in my webinar. If you are interested in being there, please sign up at the link down below in my description box. Now, Virgo, for your horoscope. What we've got going on this week is the sun at the very beginning of the week hanging out at the last degrees of Pisces in a conjunction with Chiron, which is in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships, normally of the one-on-one variety. So it could be a marriage partner, could be a business partner, could also be just someone that you feel beholden to in some way, someone you feel close to. It could also be a contract, if there's been a contract you've been trying to sign or work out. All right, and I think what's going on here at the very beginning of this week is that there's some kind of stuff going on with relationships. With the conjunction to Chiron, maybe these relationships haven't been that comfortable. Maybe they've been uncomfortable feeling for you, or you've been trying to come into new chapters with your relationships to feel better with them. Okay, and I think that's a lot of what's been going on. And I think what you're doing is you're trying to figure out what's going on with your relationships, how you feel about the people in your life, and to overcome some hard feelings so that you can then start to, here where Aries is, make some big changes in your life in some way. Okay, with the sun coming out of Pisces and moving into Aries on Wednesday of this week. Okay, and I think what you're trying to do is figure out what's going on with your relationships, how you feel about the people in your life, what it is going on with them, so that you can then start to make some big changes based on all of that. These changes could either be an ending of a relationship. Maybe you've had a really hard time with relationships lately and you're like, you know what, I don't need these people in my life anymore. Maybe you really like these people in your life and you realize, I need to get deeper. I need to get deeper in these relationships, more intimate. Okay, the 8th house can bring a more intimate sexual kind of relationship, a deepening of it. It could also bring here maybe sharing finances more intimately in some way, having a business partner, or sharing your money with a marriage partner or a romantic partner, something like that, that I think can start to come in here this week. And I think that's what you're trying to figure out, is who in your life, in what way, and what you need to do to start to take these relationships to the next level, so that you can start to change your life and live more of a life that it is that you really want on the inside. Okay, that's what I see it's all about. Now, I don't think that this is new. I think you've been thinking about some changes you want to make in your life for quite some time, and about what that means for your relationships. I think you've been thinking about that because we have had Mercury and Venus conjunct in your 8th house of changes for a few days and weeks, where it will also be this week. Okay, and I think as you've been working out some stuff with relationships, you've been trying to decide, okay, what's going on? What are my changes that I need to make? How do I need to maybe rearrange my relationships, rearrange my money, my financial situation, in order for me to finally start to feel better? Okay, I think that's what's going on. All right. As to where the beginning of this week is still a lot in the mind, is still a lot of thinking, okay, about these situations, about what you need to change with people to feel better, to create more of a life that you really want. I think the end of this week on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is more about putting these changes into action, moving forward in a big way, making some progress to do the things that you've been thinking about beforehand, or that maybe were hard for you to do early on, okay? So that's what I see going on there. The reason why I think there's going to be lots of action coming in towards the end of the week is because on Friday, the sun, as it moves into your 8th house, of changes, of endings and beginnings, makes a square over here to Mars, which just moved into Capricorn in your 5th house of happiness, also of kids, also of passion projects, and romantic relationships. So as you're making some big changes in life, endings and beginnings, deepening relationships or ending relationships, I think you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I be happy as I move forward? How can I make sure I'm not just changing my life, but that I'm changing my life in a way I like, in a way that makes me happy, in a way that can bring more joy to me? Could it also be changes too with kids, if you have any kids? All right, how do I work with my children now that so many things are going on in my relationships, that so many things are changing in my life? How do I manage my time with my kids so that I can do that better? Is there some kind of ending and beginning with kids, a pregnancy, something of the sort that could also come in here too that you're trying to work out? Okay, if it's not that, it could also be, since the 5th house rules passion projects, maybe changing a passion project or an entrepreneurial venture that you're working on, forming a business partnership, changing a business partnership, okay, so that you can start to live more of a life that it is that you really want. And I think that's what the end of the week starts to bring is, okay, now that I'm starting to move forward, now that I have more clarity on my relationships, how can I change my life in a way that makes me really happy? And how can I be happy amidst all this great change that's going on? Okay, so that's what's happening there. While that's going on, at the very end of the week too, we also have Venus, also in your 8th house of changes, making a square over to Pluto and Capricorn, also in your 5th house. So maybe in order for you to make some big changes in your life, to deepen some of your relationships and to be happy, maybe you have to change what makes you happy. Maybe you have to change a passion project again. Maybe you have to change the way you work with your kids again. Maybe you have to change your finances, how you financially support yourself or a child or a passion project so that you can be happy. Okay, and I think that's what starts to come in towards the end of this week. You doing lots of things, lots of change. The 8th house can be intense, lots of very intense, strong changes in your life coming in, and you having to figure out, okay, how can I make sure I'm doing this change, I'm ending and beginning these things, I'm spending this money in a way that really can help me be happier in the end and work with me in the best way possible. All right. So that's what's going on. Then after all of that, on Saturday, we have Mercury as well, also going retrograde in your 8th house of endings and beginnings and of intimacy, really also trying to help you to make sure, okay, if I'm going to change my life here, and if I'm going to make some endings and beginnings, how can I understand logically what's going on? How can I get my mind on board with all of this endings and beginnings, with all of these things that are happening, so that I finally can start to understand it better, feel more at peace about it, and move on doing things in a way that really supports this person I'm becoming. Okay, so that's what I see going on for you this week, Virgo. Now your card for the week, I love it, is the 6. It's the 6 of Wands upright. This is actually a very good card, given you have a lot of 8th house stuff going on, which could be hard, squaring your 5th. But this card to me does indicate a victory of some sort coming in. Maybe things have been hard for you lately, especially in relationships, trying to figure out what's going on with the other people, how you can work with other people. And maybe now that things have been so hard, you have clarity this week saying, you know what? I know what I need to do. I know how I need to do this. And I'm feeling like I'm understanding. I'm coming out on top. I'm getting this, everything in the right way, in the order, and the right way that you need. Okay. And I think this card is a message to say, you know what, if you feel like there's something that you need to do, that you feel really strongly about, that you feel in your heart, I think it's saying to move forward on it and to go forth. And I think that if you do that, and if you trust in yourself, and if you believe in it and make some big progress to make some changes coming in, I think it's going to be met with success. I think it's going to make you happier in the end, especially if you take the initiative to do it. And yeah, and I think it's going to ultimately put your life in a much better spot doing what it is that you really want deep down. Okay, so that's what I've got for you, Virgo. Thank you so much for watching my horoscope. If you like it, please like it on YouTube, share it with your friends, sign up for my Mercury retrograde webinar, and I will talk to you later.